back for another episode of Side Talk.
Woo-hoo.
And today I have one of my favorite spirits, Sims. She's an amazing individual with great energy, and I just love the way she effortlessly goes through life without a care in the world.
Oh my God, Keisha, it made me cry. We haven't even started yet.
No, you really are. I mean, I love it. I just love that carefree, everything's going to be okay attitude. And I'm trying to get to that place in my life where I'm just like, you know what? It's all good. It'll work out. It's fine. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
So
but there's so many things about you that I try to emulate. So, we both got things to learn from each other.
Aw, thank you. So welcome to Side Talk. And I just want to say that Sims has recently started her own content creation, right? She started a YouTube channel, SimGoesGreen, or Sims Go Green. What is it? Sims Go Green?
It's SimGoesGreen. Yes.
SimGoesGreen. What the hell? I don't know why. That makes more. Sims Goes Green.
You know why? Because you're used to calling me Sims. But I refer to myself as Sim when I introduce myself to people. But I love it when people call me Sims or Simmy or Sim. I don't know. I like it when people just call me whatever they want from their hearts. But I usually always sign myself off as Sim. So, because it's the shortest version. The reason why I started calling myself Sim is because whoever I introduced myself to as my phone name, Har Simran, they stopped referring me by my name. And I was like, okay, I need to shorten this. And then I went to Simran, and, it wasn't still as receptive. And then when I say Sim, people are more receptive, or Sims. So I think that's probably why you call me Sims. That's why it makes more sense to you.
Oh, okay. Got it. Now I got it. Okay. So I did subscribe to her YouTube channel, people, because I do support my peoples. And she's talking about, going green, and she's exploring this. And as she's exploring different ways to, conserve, she's sharing that experience with the audience. So it's really cool. And it's something she just started. So she's working on it. And currently, tell us, how many videos do you have up?
So I have 4 videos up right now, and I honestly put them up all within a day or two. I was so excited to launch this channel. As soon as I put them up, of course, all of my close family and friends, coworkers subscribed, and I was looking for a lot of good feedback. And I got a lot of good feedback from everybody. So based on the feedback, the next video I pumped out, I wanted to make sure that it was obviously a little better, because there's a lot of things I could have focused on to make it a little better for the audience. I don't want to make a video that is a little boring, because this subject can get a little boring, so you have to spice it up a little. So right now I'm focusing on kind of figuring out how to do that. I have a video recorded. I have so many ideas written down, because I've been working on becoming more sustainable and going green for the past year. And that's how I thought, why not share this with people? Because I realized a lot of people around me, at least, were not thinking about the things, or they weren't as educated because of mainstream lives that we live. It's not something that is taught to us. So I have 4 videos, and I'm in the process of editing my 5th video and also recording a couple other videos. So I think I want to get to a point where I'm recording and editing and also just uploading videos every week or every 2 weeks once I kind of get into the flow of this. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. So I'll put that information in the show notes, people, if you want to check it out. I think it's great to, seek out information on how we can make this planet a better place. So every little contribution helps.
Yes. Thank you.
So today we are here to talk about male-female relationships. Specifically, can females and males have platonic relationships, and what goes into that? you know. Sims and I, we have a lot of really interesting conversations, and we just love to talk about life and experiences. And one day we were talking about this topic, and I said, this is something that I am really into, and I want to talk about it on Side Talk. So here we are.
Yep.
So the first thing, I feel like women and men can have platonic relationships, but there needs to be boundaries. And it also depends on the personal relationship that the person that you're friends with has. So for instance, I'm a married woman, and I know men outside of my husband and outside of, people that I've met through him, but I don't have a relationship with those guys anymore where I would be calling them on a regular basis, hanging out with them, meeting up, or any of those things anymore. Because when I was single, it was okay to do those things because I'm single. I don't have anyone in my life that's going to feel any sort of way with me hanging out with a bunch of guys. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm married, I have to respect my marriage and I have to create boundaries. So I can, if I'm having a gathering and I'm close enough with a male, that I've known before I knew my husband or whatever, and I want to invite him, it's not a problem. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But for us to just be meeting up in the middle of the afternoon for lunch,
yeah, red flags. Just to add to that, because it's funny, we're talking about this now because I just had a little get together with a couple friends, not too big, like literally 2 people at my house, and we were talking about this. This kind of came up because we started talking about friendships outside of our relationship with the opposite gender, and me and my boyfriend kind of agreed that if me or him were hanging out with the opposite gender on a regular basis, like this 1 or 2 people just by ourselves, it would definitely make us feel uncomfortable. But this other person, girl, she mentioned that no, she and her boyfriend trust each other a lot, and they have friends of the opposite gender and they hang out with them on a regular basis. And we kind of like wanted to dig into that because me and my boyfriend were like, really? That's very interesting, Mm-hmm. So I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that it's okay to obviously have friends of the opposite gender, and you can have platonic friendships, but it raises red flags when you're hanging out with them on a regular basis, one-on-one. Right. Because the relationship will change the more time you're spending with someone one-on-one, right? Because that's kind of how you get to know people, and one or the other person will probably start feeling something, because relationships become stronger by spending more time with people, right? You get to know people, and then we're human. We always end up feeling something for somebody the more you get to know them, because everybody has some kind of a depth to them, right? And mm-hmm. on the surface it's hard to see it, but the more time you spend with someone, you're like, wow, I really like this about this person. Or the opposite things might happen. You might be like, what, I am repelled by this person, I don't like this. But I think with me, always, I have, in my experience, if I'm spending a lot of time one-on-one with a guy, it's always because either I want to get to know him more, or he wants to get to know me more. And if I figure out that, okay, this is a person that he's trying to maybe like be in a relationship with me, I know I have to set a boundary. So I think it also depends on the frequency. Like, you can hang out with somebody. Like, I have some guy friends, well, one basically from college, and we always hang out only in groups, one-on-one, maybe once a year. Like, if he's around in town and he's like, oh my god, let's hang out, I am close by you, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's go get dinner. So it's always like maybe in a public space for a couple of hours, but it's never like every single day or every week. Then that would raise a red flag 100%. So I think frequency might also add to that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like, it's okay to have, like I said, it's okay to have, friends of the opposite sex, but you have to put boundaries, and it just depends on where you are in your life. My husband, right? He has female friends. He knows women, right? But there are boundaries, right? So he's not going to be going out to lunch and hanging out at night with, no, we don't play that here. Nope.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
So, I mean, the other day I was talking to this guy that I used to work with, and we're friends, and every once in a while we text like, hey, how's it going? You know, he has like kids, and I'll be like, oh my God, your son's graduating, you know, college, or your daughter just started college. That's awesome. You know, things like that, very, you know, surface. And then I said, oh, you know, we got to get up for lunch, you know, one day or whatever. Right. And he's like, yeah, cool. Absolutely. Like, to me, I feel like that is okay. And I definitely would say to my husband, oh, I'm going to go to lunch with such and such, you know, we catch up from the old place, and, you know, but there's no intention there. Like, it's not somebody that I'm going to lunch with every week.
Yes. See, I love that you use that word intention.
Right.
Because, you know, if you know that you are not telling the complete truth, or you're a little worried about what your what your partner will think. Like, if I told my boyfriend I'm going to dinner and a movie, and he was okay with it, great, right? Just one time, it's a thing. And I would be like, hey, you want to come with us? And if he says, no, you know, whatever, I trust you, go ahead. I know this guy. I've hung out with him before. His intentions are okay. You know, like, he's friend zoned 100%. Sure. But if I'm scared to tell him that we're going to the movies and be like, I'm going to like kind of not play it down a little bit, right? Not tell him the truth about what we're doing, then I know something is not right there. Like, that should be a red flag if you're not telling the truth, because you know deep inside your intention is not right. Right? So you're absolutely right. If you have to hide, your intentions are not right. So if you can be truthful about what you're doing, absolutely anybody can come. You don't want to just spend alone time with this person, then, you know.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing. Intention is such a interesting word. Like, for me, I feel like everything we do, there's intention behind it, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And people who pretend that oh my God, I don't know what you mean, I don't know what you're talking about, there was no intention, like, you're full of shit, straight up. Like, that's how I'm coming at it, 2020. Like, I'm just keeping it real.
I think we've talked about this at work before too, because sometimes I do feel like people who are aware, obviously they live their life with intention, right? That's kind of the definition of becoming aware. Like, you're like, you understand the meaning of life, or you know what your life what you want your life to be, and you make every move with intention, right? You want to be a better person. Right. But I do think there are people who are not as aware, and they might not have as strong intentions, like, or they might not even think about them like me and you do, or other people who are probably a little more aware of what they want out of their lives. So I do think, and I know we maybe disagreed on this a little in the past, but I think there are people who kind of just go through life without any strong intention. So they're just subconsciously living life the way they see media, the way they see other people.
But that's, you hit it on the head. Subconsciously, they're not conscious, so they're just doing things. But when you do something, you have to expect that there's going to be a reaction, or right. So you can't be that removed from everything. So that's what I mean. So even when you're doing things and you're not really thinking about what you're doing, I just feel like you have to think that, okay, if I go to dinner with this guy and I wear a really low cut top and I'm like leaning over and like talking like this and being like, you know, is that going to send a message? Like, you can't be stupid enough to think that you're not sending a message to that person that's saying, hey,
of course,
you know, I'm interested. You know what I mean?
You're right. Then I would wish that there's someone in this person's life to kind of be like, hey, do you understand what you're doing? You know, like, this person might be subconsciously doing this because they don't even understand that they want to be with this person, or what are they trying to get out of this lunch or dinner that they're going to, right? They're just doing this because they think that's what the right thing is to do. Not even right thing. They just do it because they want to look good. But I think deep down, they're not asking themselves the questions of like, what is the point of going to this lunch? What is the outcome of this, right? Where is this going to go? Is this person that I'm going to lunch with married? Is this person in a relationship? Is this person, you know, interested in me? Like, where is this going? Is this very platonic, or is this deeper than what it needs to be or should be. So yeah.
we know someone who was kind of being flirty with someone who is married, right? So what do you think in that person's mind they were thinking? And I know it's hard to ask you what you think they were thinking, but we've observed it, you know, so we seen it. So what do you think that they were thinking? Like, do you think they're just seeking some immediate gratification, like attention, and they're not really thinking about the possibilities of what could happen? Or, you know, I'm just trying to understand, like, the mind of the Walking Dead.
That's a good way to put it. So I think you already answered the question by basically, I think this person, the specific girl who was going to, you know, heights, it seemed like to us, right? It definitely seemed like an instant gratification thing. I don't think this girl was putting any thought into what was going to happen. So, and it's because of her personality. I think for her, it was definitely instant gratification. Now, of course, we don't know what happened. Where did this lead?
Right.
We definitely saw them hanging out a lot more, and, you know, just like moves and flirts and those kind of things, and all it raised red flags in not only your mind, but a lot of other people that we didn't know. Right. So it was interesting to see how everybody of us was on the same page with it. So, but I think from knowing the person a little bit, I think it was an instant gratification thing, because when people don't have they're not in secure, good relationships, you know, they look for instant gratification. And that, it's like a double-edged sword, right? Like, people who need to be in a secure relationship, they shouldn't be looking for instant gratification, but they end up doing that. Unless they become aware that they're doing that, then they have to stop and look for something deeper than that, right? Because instant gratification does not get you always end up with the wrong person for instant gratification, because you always get instant gratification from someone who maybe not be the right person for you, because they'll kind of, you know, just do something surface or do something temporary that gives you what you need for like a day or two, but then they're not there because either they're already in a relationship, or, you know, they don't really mean well, they're not the right person for you, they don't mean well for you, all of those things. But I think I went on a little tangent over here, but
no, I mean, yeah, I think that you're right. And I think that this is what I'm talking about with this friend nonsense, right? Because let's just be honest, a lot of men are very oblivious, in denial.
I do think women are more aware than men. Yes, women are more emotionally in tune with what's going on than men. Like, I have been in relationships or dated people who didn't understand that another person was flirting with them. And it was very shocking to me. I was like, you're an adult. How do you not see this?
Exactly.
So, yes, men can definitely be more oblivious than women, I think. But women can definitely be oblivious, too. Like, especially working with this person, I was like, wow, this is interesting to watch.
No. Let's be honest about this. They were not oblivious, because the reason that they the reason that they felt comfortable enough to give off this sort of energy was because of the energy that they were receiving.
You're right. There's definitely, you can only clap with two hands, right? So,
exactly. Right. And, you know, no one, I mean, well, some women do go full blown throwing themselves at men who are clearly not even thinking about them in that way. That's true. And, you know, that is the case sometimes, but more times than not, it's a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? If you see somebody give you a little look or a glance or whatever, you might play into that.
Yeah.
You know? So you got to just be careful, you know, on both sides. And that's why I'm saying, like, when you're in a committed relationship, you have to be very careful with your friendships with people of the other sex. And you have to set boundaries, because if you don't, it's very easy to fall into a situation where you never expected to be in that situation, especially if you're hanging out with these people without your significant other, and there's alcohol, there's whatever,
Yes.
anything can happen. I was listening to this podcast once, and they were talking about how alcohol affects people, or I don't even know if it was a podcast. It was probably something I read. Let me tell you, people, I listen to so many podcasts. I read so much stuff. I take in so much information. I can't even regurgitate this stuff. It's like too much. I need to take like a brain dump. It's like I get so confused because I'm always taking in information. I need to do something to sort my thoughts. So if anybody has any advice on that, please hit me up. Get in my DM. Let me know. The information that I received was something to the effect of when you are under the influence of alcohol to the point where you are like drunk, you really, and I think everybody knows this, your decision making abilities right, get very affected, right, by the alcohol, and you do things without thinking about the consequences, because that's what alcohol does to you. It impairs you in that way, where that's why when people get really drunk, they'll go out on the floor and start dancing and acting crazy or doing stuff, and you're like, yo, that person is tripping right now. Or they'll be climbing up on these things in parties because you're unable to think about the consequences, because it impairs that part of your brain that would allow you to say, yo, if I do this, this could happen. So that is why when you are around people who are drinking and they're also not conscious people, right? You can find yourself in a very,
sticky situation,
to say the least.
Yes.
So,
and I realized that this is normalized in media. Like, I was just watching this Netflix series yesterday, right? And this woman is in a relationship with this other dude, but her ex-husband comes over to meet his son, and they both start drinking. And the ex-husband is kind of like forcing her to drink more and more and more and more. So first of all, that's already a sticky situation you're in, because you know this guy's intentions are not right, but the woman keeps drinking with him because he's like, for old time's sake, come on, honey. And they're drinking. And of course, what happens? They end up kissing each other. And I'm like, no, why? Because I really like the girl. And I'm like, and I liked her. The guy she was dating, he was definitely much better than her ex-husband. You could tell like they were good for each other. But I realized, and then I thought about it. I'm like, wow, this is something that I see in a lot of movies. Like when people are drinking, they do stupid things, and it's almost like normalized because you see it so much. Like it's an excuse. Like, oh, I was drunk. So
right.
Like,
and that's not an excuse.
Right. You got to think before you put yourself in that situation. Like, I'm definitely not going to get drunk with a guy by myself. Right. And even in a group, well, you know that I don't really drink. Right. And because of the same reasons, because I don't like the way I don't remember things the next day, or the way it makes me feel the next day. And even I hate being not like having the inability to make decisions with my own brain, right?
Yeah.
So
and on that same thing that I was listening to about this, they said when you do things and then later you are called to explain, right? Being drunk is an explanation, but it's not an excuse. Right. So again, when you go out there and you do things under the influence or under the guise of, oh, I was so drunk, whatever, bye. Like, that's all I gotta say. So let's go on.
But not for nothing, I feel like, and we've talked about this before, and I feel like because I've lived both sides of this paradigm, I guess, right? I've now I'm in a good, secure relationship. I've been with this person for a year with my boyfriend, and things are great. I feel very secure. I don't seek out other validation, but I've been on the other side. Like a year before, I was in a relationship and I was not happy, and I didn't know I wasn't happy. And that's crazy to me, because now I'm like, how could you not know you were not happy? Because I was with this person for 4 years and we were engaged, and I didn't realize how unhappy I was. And now when I look back into that relationship, I can tell all the things that I was doing. Like, first, number one on my list is seeking validation from the opposite sex all the time. Anywhere and everywhere. I was very flirty. I would hang out with guys low key. I would text them all the time, very flirty. I wouldn't let my partner go through my phone. So it was definitely fishy. But at that time, I wasn't thinking about this. So that's kind of what I meant before. Like, people subconsciously do things, but I wish someone slapped me and been like, hey, what are you doing? Where is this leading to? What is the point of this? Do you understand what you're doing? And the core of that problem of what I was doing was because I was unhappy with this person I was with. I wasn't happy. So that's why I was seeking outside validation. I wasn't secure in my relationship, right? And I would do all the wrong things. I would hang out with people. I would drink with people, with guys specifically. I would lie to my partner about where I was, what I was doing. And it was so easy to do that because I was just not aware of what I was doing. I was doing it subconsciously, and I would blame things on alcohol. So I definitely learned from that relationship a lot about myself.
And if you wouldn't mind sharing how, I don't want to say tricked, but how your ex thought that you were friends with somebody and you would bring them by and it was like just a little bit more flirty than just friends.
Yes. Oh my God. It just, even talking about this makes me feel so cringy because I'm like, whoa, I did this shit so bad. But
girl, you got stories for your grandchildren.
Yes. And it also like reminds me of like I should never put myself in that place again. It's a good reminder for me. So yes, I was with my partner. At this point, we are engaged and I am working where I used to work before. And I met a coworker over there. And this is a normal person. I never thought this would lead anywhere, but he's a cute guy. Like, he's tall. He has these beautiful eyes. He's very shy. I definitely think I have a thing for shy people, especially guys. Because I always think that there's so much more down there that I want to dig into. Down
there? Down where, honey? Ow.
Keisha, oh my God, it's only like early morning. But yes, maybe probably both. Yes, inside and down there, right? But I don't think I was thinking about the.
No, I'm just teasing you. Sorry, go ahead, finish your story.
So I was doing all of this subconsciously. Like, I started flirting with him, and not like outright flirting, but like message him and be like, ha ha ha, and just make a little joke, right? And I don't do that with everybody. So, and I didn't know this at the time because I didn't even realize I was doing it. So I start flirting with him, and I have to leave that company then after a couple of weeks after like getting to know him. And he asks me if I want to hang out by myself with him, like go drinking. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Right? So we do that and we hang out for a couple of hours after work, and things are whatever, flirty. Nothing happens really. We're just hanging out, drinking. I kind of like lay on his shoulder. That's probably all I do at that time. And then a couple of weeks later, after I leave that job, he's like still texting me a lot. We're texting each other all the time, like at night. And of course, like at this point, like if I was not in a relationship, I would think I'm talking to this guy, right? Like we're in that step where we're talking before we start dating somebody. So he asks me if I can hang out with him on a Friday night. And I'm like, yeah, why don't you come over? And he's like, okay. So now I'm thinking, wow, he's going to come over. My partner is here. How do I deal with the situation? But I think I just played it off as like he's my coworker. So I told my partner, I was like, hey, this ex-coworker is going to come over. He doesn't have a lot of friends. He just moved here. And, because we used to work together, we kind of got close. And, like, you're going to be here. It's going to be all fine. Like, we're just going to watch a movie and just hang out together. And my partner was like, yeah, sure, why not? Because he was all about, like, hanging out with people. He loved just hosting people and getting drunk with people. Like, that was his thing. Like, he just loved hanging out with people. He was very extroverted. So this person comes over, and we are definitely not as flirty, but there's some, like smiles and just like gestures, a little like touching, but nothing like crazy where my partner would think like something's going on. But I feel like if he was a little more aware of like me, he would like have noticed like how like I was trying to sit with him on the sofa instead of my partner. You know, I put my head on his shoulder, but I was trying to play it off as like he's just my friend because I do that with my friends, right? So the night goes on and my partner falls asleep, and then me and this other dude kind of get really flirty, and nothing really happened. Like we didn't like do anything, but it was inappropriately bad. Like we ended up in the same bed, and the next morning my partner comes into the room and he was like, what's going on here? And I'm like, oh, we're talking and we fell asleep here, and that's it. So that kind of is what happened.
Ooh, that's crazy, but you know, stuff like that can happen, so you just got to be careful of these friends that people keep. So let's move on. I did a survey and I sent it out to a bunch of people, and I don't know who said what, because the way I get the surveys back is once you answer it, it just populates in, and I never really go back to look at individual. I just want to see like a holistic view of what people were saying, right? I don't want to see individuals. I just want to get like, you know, everything. So my first question was, have you ever slept with someone who you were friends with? And 38.5% of people said yes, and 61.5, oh, sorry, my bad. 61.5% said yes, and 38.5 said no. So most people, and this is a small survey, but most people have slept with someone that they have been friends with, because like Sims and I said earlier, it's very easy to feel something for someone of the opposite sex when you're seeing them on a regular basis. And anything can happen, especially when you start drinking, or maybe you're going through something personal, a hard time, and you go to this friend to confide and talk, and you know what I'm saying? Like anything can happen.
Yep.
And when I asked this question, have you ever slept with someone who you were friends with? Well, no, somebody I sent this to, they wrote me back and was like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? That, you know, I've been friends with a lot of my people that I have gotten into relationships with. Well, that's not what the question was. It was, have you ever slept with someone that you were friends with? Just friends, platonic. When I met my husband, we started off our relationship with a friendship, but it wasn't, when I met him, I wasn't like, oh, I want to be his friend. Nah, I was like, I like him. He's cute. I want to see what it do. Like, you know what I mean? I wasn't looking at him like, oh my God, I just want to be his friend. Let's be friends. Like, no, that's not what it was. So those are two different things. When you are attracted to someone and you meet someone, you have intentions. The intentions are there, right? And then there are other times when you meet people and it's just a platonic thing. Like, you know, you're not attracted to them. There's no interest. Maybe they're involved. Maybe you're involved. You're both involved. And you're just friends. Like, you have something in common, you know? So you're like, oh, we talk about this one thing. We say hi, we say bye, and that's it. Right? So that would be like a friendship, or someone who you went to college with and you guys got to know each other and you developed a friendship. And then, you know, that's what I mean. You developed a friendship and then all of a sudden that friendship turned into sex. It never manifested into a relationship, but there was sex, right?
Yes.
That's what
I think
meant.
with humans also, like, we all like are this flesh of feelings and emotions, and like sex is the ultimate feeling of closeness with somebody. Or, you know, I think there's obviously different reasons why people sleep with somebody, but when you're confiding in someone, it's so easy to kind of things just get to that point, especially when you're by yourself with this person in a room, or, you know, somewhere. Even this could even happen in like a public space, like where we're confiding in somebody and you start like really, maybe like even just like a little touch or something, it might spark something in the other person, and, you know, they're like, oh, you want to come by for tea or a nightcap or whatever, and the other person's like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll just keep the conversation going because I'm having a great conversation. And then it's so easy for one thing to lead to the other. Like, that's all it is. It's just easy. So it's important to, like, have boundaries, like you said before. Like, know that you need to say no at some points. Like, even if, let's say, this person doesn't have that intention as of right now, it could lead there very, very easily, right? Because it does happen very easily.
Right.
And I've been in those situations, so I know. So yeah.
Right. And it's very easy to bring someone into your home under the guise of, oh, this is my friend.
Yes.
We work together. Yes. We're friends. You know, they're so cool. But little do you know, at work, we be doing all types of things that you would probably find to be inappropriate. And let's just leave that there. Do you think men and women can have a platonic friendship? 84% of people said yes, 15% said maybe. No one said no. So again, yes, you can have a platonic relationship, absolutely, but there needs to be boundaries. That's how I feel. I mean, everybody is free to feel whatever they want, but that's what I feel.
I agree with that.
Do you think men and women friendships are different when either party are single as opposed to when one party or both parties are in a relationship? And I ask people to explain their answer. So one person said, oh my God, this is a lot. Yes, I think when either party is in a relationship, there are boundaries that should now exist that may not have been there before. Both parties need to be mindful and respectful of each other's relationships. Absolutely. I agree with that. This person said, the difference isn't whether the male or female friend is single or not. The friendship is based on complete honesty. Questions to answer are we just friends, or am I using friendship to get with you? If we truly are just friends, what if feelings change? How do we address this? I'm going to leave that one alone.
See, like, this conversation can go into so many directions, because I think the core reason why people who are supposed to be in a platonic friendship, it leads somewhere else, it has to do with the deeper issue with that person, right? Them not being happy in their relationship, which is where I was, or them wanting the validation, them not being happy with who they are as a person, so they seek outside validation. So
let's see.
Topic for another day.
This person said it removes a barrier from keeping it just in the friend zone, but doesn't make it a set event that they'll hook up. This person said not really, because everybody's not interested in everybody they come in contact with. And then somebody said, yes, depends on each party's intention. I can't read all of them. So, those were some that I would read. But I have to say, from experience, personal experience, I used to hang out with guys, and I'm just going to keep it 100. There's never been a guy that I've been friends with that I couldn't have slept with if I wanted to. And I'm not trying to say that in a cocky way. I'm not trying to say that in any way. I'm just keeping it 100. Period. Okay? The only way that it wouldn't have been something that I would have, you know what I'm saying, is if I was friends with somebody who used to date my sister. So I would never, and I never slept with any of my friends because I just didn't want to cross that line and mess up the friendship. So I have never done it, but I can tell you, if I wanted to, it could have went down.
Yeah, I believe you.
So that's why I say, for people who want to pretend, well, no, listen, sometimes you even you're friends with somebody who's ugly, or what you would consider ugly, but you spend time with them and you start to see a side of them that just makes them beautiful, like they're inside. And they're so kind and good to you, and they're, whenever you call them, they're there for you. They're like a good friend, and you just be like, oh my God, he's such a good person. You know what I'm saying? So you never know. It's I don't know. That's just my opinion. But
no, you're absolutely right. So many people I've dated, I didn't really think they were attractive when I first started talking to them, but getting to know them changed the it changed the perception of how I viewed them completely, and then I dated them. So 100% agreed. And you always, the outside is always just something you're instantly attracted to, but when you get to know people, the inner is what keeps you with them, what makes you do more things with them, right? So you're absolutely right. If you don't have those boundaries, things will lead to places where you might not want them to lead to.
Exactly. This question: do you think all female relationships have the potential to become physical? I said the potential. One person said no, the question is skewed. It is worded to suggest that the bounds that define or impact male-female relationship is physical. Emotion is probably the most common area of confusion. In female friendships, being hurt by another woman friend is an emotional hurt because the bond is This person went crazy. Most friendships are based on emotional bonds because of the men or women who are not self-aware or cannot communicate clearly with always succumbs to the stereotype around. Girl, bye. I'm sorry. Whoever wrote that, if you're listening, you went crazy. Let's talk, okay? Because the question was very clear. Do you think all female-male relationships have the potential to become physical? Do you think it has the potential? Not that it will, but does it have the potential? That's a yes or no answer. If you don't think it does, then okay, fine. This person said 100%. There's always room for temptation, but when it comes to true friendship, that never has to be a question. It all depends on the individuals involved. Yes, I agree.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, and then someone said no, some friends are not attracted to one another in that light. Okay. Right. Do you have a female or male friend that you find attractive? 61.5% said yes. 38.5% said no. Attraction is the first thing.
But do you think you can appreciate someone's beauty without wanting to do something else with them?
Yes, you can. But because we are human beings and we are all flawed, we can all have an inappropriate thought from time to time. Let's just keep it real.
Yes.
See, let me tell you something about me, people. I'm very real about life and my experiences. I just feel like, why are you gonna just not be honest about what you feel, what you think, what you see, what you say, whatever. I'm not gonna go out there and be reckless and say things that will hurt anybody, but I just want to say, for the sake of being honest about who we are as people, let's just be honest, right? So if you have a friend who is good looking, you cannot tell me that you have never once had an inappropriate thought. Maybe a thought you shouldn't have had.
No. I mean, I think
not to you, but I'm just saying in general.
Attractive, but I don't think I've had any inappropriate thoughts with them. I think that could be the case. No, you don't think so?
I guess you're pure, honey. Your soul is pure. I don't know. I think that, and it depends on what you consider inappropriate thought. Not saying that you're thinking that you want to sleep with them. That's going deep, An inappropriate thought could be, just checking them out and being like, damn, he really is hot. Or
okay, so
it depends on what you think is inappropriate. Maybe to you that's not inappropriate, but I mean, if you have a man, it's inappropriate. Because let me tell you, I watch TV with my husband and I'll be like, damn, he is fine, and he'd be looking at me like, what did you just say? And I'm like, babe, he's an actor. Like, he's not even thinking about me. Like, he's married, and he's still like, what? Okay. So to him, that's inappropriate.
Got it.
Right? So again, I think people think too deep when you say things like inappropriate. Something small can be inappropriate. So, are you okay with your spouse having a lot of friends of the opposite sex? So somebody wrote, I don't have an issue with it at all. Actually, I think it's healthy.
What?
Girl.
Oh, meet that person.
Right.
That would be an interesting conversation. What?
I bet you that was Natalie. So someone wrote, yes and no. I think too much of the opposite sex may be alarming. Your spouse should be able to vet and approve the person from the opposite sex, and if they're comfortable with it, it's fine. Yeah, that would be true only if men were smart.
Yeah.
No, other sexes usually hate on your relationship, thinking you have something you don't. Could be true.
Could be. That's true. Then people try to, like, be like, hey, honey.
Mm-hmm. A lot, maybe not. A few real friends, yes. I like that response. And I agree with that. A lot, no. You don't need a lot of female friends. You need your sister. You need your mom. Look,
And me.
Right, your auntie, your cousin. No, I'm okay with some female friends as long as there are boundaries and there's respect. I think respect is key. And once you meet your significant other's friend of the opposite sex, you can determine the level of respect that's there and decide if that's, a safe zone.
Yep.
Yep. This person said, I cannot control another person's life or decisions, only my reaction. That said, based on my vibe of the person or circumstances is what would drive if I'm okay with a person or not. It would be case by case for me. My husband is the person I was friends with that I noted in the first question. See?
Yeah, that's toxic friendship.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, I absolutely feel like you can't. I agree with that you can't control another person's life, but I feel like being in relationships, we have to set boundaries and expectations, and those things have to be clear, because if you don't set those, then the other person doesn't know, and that's where you leave a gray area or room for things to creep in that will disturb, the foundation of your relationship.
Totally agree. And I also think that boundaries might vary from couple to couple. Right. So
yes, like Natalie told me a story that her husband, and Natalie is someone Sims and I both know. So she told me that her husband had a friend at work, and this woman used to pack him a lunch. And
what?
Girl.
What? I didn't hear the story. Okay.
She used to pack him a lunch and all types of stuff and bring him a lunch, and they were like really good friends and blah blah blah. And I was like,
no,
girl, go sit down. It's just like, at first I was like, well, why is this person packing you a lunch and blah blah blah. And then she was like, and then I met her, and me and her hit it off, and we became really good friends, and then so we were just all friends, and so it's fine. I'm wondering if Natalie had a threesome and she didn't want to tell me.
Oh my gosh,
she's gonna kill me. She's gonna kill me. But no, seriously though. Excuse me, I don't want anybody making my husband nothing. Don't bring my husband lunch. And thank God he works at home. So
unless it was an older woman, like in her
70s or first 80s, of all, we're Jamaican.
Like
we're Jamaican. We don't eat from nobody. So that's one. And you know that about me.
Not too much.
So ain't nobody bringing him no lunch. Okay, it's not happening. But I just think that's really, think about it. The intention. What was her intention when she was sitting in her kitchen like, oh, I think I'm going to bring a lunch for Derek today.
Right. Unless she's also making lunch for everybody, right?
No, she was not. She was not. That's not the way the story came to me. Now, I don't know if she just wanted Derek to, and this is not Natalie's husband's name. I'm just saying. She wanted Derek to really be her friend or really like her and appreciate her. But again, intention. Whenever we do something, there is an intention there. And I don't care if you're unconscious or conscious. When you wake up and you decide, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call Sims. There's an intention there. Why am I calling Sims? When you pick up your phone and you take a picture of yourself and you come down a little bit on your boobs because they look really good today, and you post a picture on Instagram, there's an intention there. Yes. Look how hot I look. Look at my boobs. They look right today.
I want those likes and those comments.
Right.
Yes.
So stop.
Yes, there is.
So stop with the, there's no intention. There's nothing behind it. I wasn't trying to do anything. Like, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else. I could tell you, I always have intentions with everything that I do. Every post that I make, there's an intention there. Whether I read it and it resonated with me and something that I'm going through in my life, or it makes me feel like, that explains me. I post a lot about Scorpio traits because those posts resonate with me because it explains who I am at the core. And I post it because I want my friends and family to understand me on a deeper level, just in case they don't. Right? So that's why I post stuff. When I post things on my Oh Hell No page about, staying focused, looking for your purpose, finding things, I post those things because I know that there's somebody out there going through that, or thinking, damn, I should give up, or damn, I'm too old to try to find my passion, or, I can't do this. So I saw a post that resonated with me, that made me feel good about what I'm doing, and I posted it in the hopes of someone else seeing it and being like, damn, yes, I'm gonna keep going. Right?
Yep. You're right.
So when people sit around and say that there's no intention in anything that they do, like, yo, dude, you really need to get self-aware and figure out who you are and what you're doing in life.
Yep, that's the key. Just becoming more aware and conscious about the choices you're making,
Right. So I feel like the wrap up here is that men and women can have platonic relationships. There needs to be boundaries and respect. And, once you have those things in place and you keep a close eye on that heifer, everything will be fine.
Yes, that puts it in perfect words. Right. I agree.
Everything will be fine. Or if you keep an eye on that dude, because dudes can be grimy too. It's not just women, right?
Yeah, but you definitely want to be in a relationship where you don't have to do that, right? Because if you have to keep an eye on somebody,
no, not your spouse, the outside person.
Oh,
yes, okay. Not your spouse, people, the outside person. Because like Sim said, you shouldn't be in a relationship with someone that you don't trust, or you feel like, they might be up to something shady. That's the first red flag. So no, I'm talking about the outside people. Those are the people that you cannot trust.
Yep. That is true. That is true.
And that's, let me just make that clear. I'm not talking about, my husband. No, I trust my husband. It's the other people that I don't trust. And with social media today, things, like, you can't go anywhere without being recorded, first of all, right? So, I mean, someone could send you a video or show you a video and it looks crazy as hell, and you weren't there, you don't know what happened, and then you got to kind of figure out where to go from there. You know what I'm saying? Or you could see something online that looks inappropriate or whatever. So you just have to be careful who you surround yourself with, who you let into your relationships and into your home, and just be careful, because everybody's intention is not pure and it's not good. So, Sims, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Side Talk. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you because we really vibe and we get each other, and we don't always agree, which is good because I don't want anybody that just agrees with me, but we appreciate each other's viewpoint, and I respect that.
Thank you. And I feel the same exact way. And I've had so much fun with you. And we will continue having these conversations off the podcast.
Yes, we will.